Tennis legend John McEnroe was once a supporter, but now demanding answers about the controversy around 20-time Grand Slam winner and one of the greatest players of all time in tennis, Novak Djokovic's stance as an anti-vaxxer. The subsequent deportation from Australia refuses to die out with the latest developments, implying that Djokovic might have lied to the federal court about his PCR tests. In today's video, we'll be discussing Novak Djokovic's ongoing troubles in tennis due to his stance. Stay tuned. First, McEnroe demands answers. Seven-time Grand Slam winner John McEnroe has demanded clarifications from the men's world number one Novak Djokovic following reports coming in that have put a question mark over the COVID test results that Djokovic and his team submitted to the federal court, where he was fighting the visa cancellation and deportation order issued against him before the start of the Australian Open. He found himself losing the case and getting deported from Australia because of his stand against getting the jab, and one of two of his fiercest rivals, Rafael Nadal, earning that honor instead. As a prerequisite for his appeal against his visa cancellation and subsequent deportation at the start of 2022, Djokovic had submitted his PCR test as evidence showing that he had received a positive result on a PCR test on December 16th, and that upon retesting, he got a negative result on January 22nd. However, investigations from renowned media outlets like the BBC and the German Der Spiegel have reportedly found discrepancies in the PCR results submitted with respect to the confirmation codes. According to the investigation, the December 16th test had the confirmation code 7371999 associated with it, compared to the 7320919 code for the December 22nd test, indicating that the second swab might have actually been taken before the first. The BBC has cross-referenced the PCR test confirmation codes with more than 50 other codes before eventually reaching the conclusion that the code found on the December 16th test was most probably generated nearly a week later. George Krivakopich, an independent digital security and data specialist working with BBC on the investigation, has said that even though there is a possibility that the different confirmation codes could have been caused by a system error, there's also the much more obvious possibility that says that Djokovic had intentionally misled the responsible authorities about the actual date for when the first positive test was actually taken. He goes on to raise doubts on the possibility of a glitch in the system, saying that if there was such a simple explanation available for the matter at hand, then the Victorian state authorities would have come out and said just that. Immediately after it was revealed that Djokovic had tested positive in December, he had come under heavy scrutiny, which was taken up a notch after it became common knowledge that he had also attended an interview with the popular French sports outlet G.O.A.T while he was fully aware that he was positive, without disclosing this piece of key information to the reporter and the photographer. McEnroe had, at the start of the entire visa controversy, been defending him, but after the reports of the investigation became public, McEnroe has said that he has been left speechless and has said that he would very much like to hear an explanation and what actually is the truth of the situation. He went on to say that even though there are a lot of things he would like to hear Djokovic clarify further upon, he specifically pointed out that the fact is, if the Serb had tested positive on December 15th, why would a smart person like him, despite being fully aware of the implications of his actions, go for an interview with a journalist on the very next day? For McEnroe, the idea of someone like Djokovic doing something so preposterous makes no sense and has been the key reason why he is no longer speaking in support of the world number one and instead demanding he answer the questions raised by the joint report. Australian Open boss in the crosshairs. Failing to sway the federal court to rule against his visa cancellation, the unvaccinated Serbian tennis superstar had no choice but to leave Melbourne and leave Australia before the start of the Australian Open. Greg Tiley, the chief executive officer and director of the Australian Open, has blamed the miscommunication between the Grand Slam organizers and the federal government, along with the changing circumstances due to the Omicron variant, for the entire Djokovic visa drama. According to a letter sent in November from Greg Hunt, the health minister to Tiley had explicitly said that a prior infection at any point in time would not serve as a sufficient excuse for exemption from the standard requirements from quarantine-free travel. Tiley has been seen avoiding, addressing, and answering questions in the media about any changes with regards to this information, but the CEO and tournament director has claimed that there was a lot of contradiction on the part of the health ministry. He said that because Omicron was only just starting to spread rapidly, the organizers were trying to get regular updates and clarifications with regards to the travel regulations, and he says that they encountered lots of contradictions and unneeded complexities from the information that had previously been communicated. He added that one or two pieces of communication stated out of context cannot be used to define all the communication that had gone into the organization of the tournament. He also stressed the fact that it should not be forgotten at all that they had always tried to do the right thing. Before the Australian Open got underway, addressing the reports that have said that Djokovic might sue the Victorian government for $6 million in damages, he said that there might be a lot of different things being said in the media, but but that is not true. He reiterated that they were only focused on delivering a great tournament under challenging conditions and that there will be an internal audit and review after the tournament ends. Now, in other tennis news, is Djokovic getting the jab? According to his biographer, Daniel Muksh, Novak Djokovic has finally decided to get protection against the virus following his much publicized visa cancellation and deportation saga ahead of the Australian Open. The men's world number one missed out on the Australian Open and a chance to win it for a record 10th time after a controversial back-and-forth drama which saw him file an appeal twice against a decision that would prevent him from playing in the tournament, only to lose both the appeals and instead be deported. Nadal's victory has now made him statistically the greatest men's tennis player of all time after he pulled ahead of Djokovic and the Swiss great Roger Federer with 21 Grand Slams, which is one more than either. Muksh said that from what he has been hearing from friends and family close to Djokovic, he believes that the Serb might be coming around to the idea of getting the jab and that the Australian Open final, contested between Nadal and Daniil Medvedev, along with Nadal winning a record 21 Grand Slams, might have contributed to this change of heart. Djokovic might have been amongst the first tennis players to congratulate the Spaniard on his incredible achievement and a second Australian Open title, but he will be training as hard as possible to not only equal Nadal's record haul, but even surpass it and end his career with more slams than both Nadal and Federer. When will Djokovic next be in action? Djokovic has not played tennis since December 3rd, 2021 in the Davis Cup semifinals, back when he represented Serbia during his country's eventual loss to Croatia. He is next supposed to be in action in the Dubai Open, which will be starting on February 21st. And if there's any truth in the news regarding his change of plans, then the 34-year-old could also be playing the first two ATP Masters 1000 tournaments at the Indian Wells and in Miami as well. Driven by the success that has brought him into the conversation for the greatest men's tennis player of all time, he is eager to retain his status as the number one player in the world, and if the experts' calculations are accurate, he will most probably have to feature in at least one of the two Masters 1000 events to keep the second-place Medvedev from overtaking him in the world rankings. Medvedev is trailing Djokovic by just 890 points and will next be in action at the Rotterdam Open, which starts February 7th, the champion of which will earn 500 points. Considering Medvedev's hot run of form and his fast ascent to the top of the tennis world, it would not come as a surprise if he wins the 500 points and reduces the deficit to a meager 390 points. And that's a wrap for this video. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next one.